Good evening, my name is Garrett, and welcome to The Last Call. Tonight's final drink is Whistlepig Roadstock Rye. This is a 43% ABV, no wage statement, interesting story rye. So, Whistlepig does a lot of sourcing from Canada and some other areas, but they really do a good job in their finishing things, and I'll link some of the Whistlepigs that I've done up above and down below when those are live. The story behind this one is kind of a long one, but essentially they've taken a mobile rick house in 2021, essentially a semi that they loaded up barrels of this, which half the barrels were new virgin oak, and then the other half were Bordeaux wine casks. Yeah, from Jordan Winery. So half of them were that, half of them the other were that wine, half were virgin oak. They then drove them across Route 66 here in the United States, all the way to California. There, they met up with a brewery, which is, looking here, Firestone Walker Brewing Company. And they don't tell us which of the casks that they used to this, but they essentially transferred things to stout, imperial blonde ale, and experimental ale barrels. Loaded them back up, drove back across the United States, unloaded and blended them from there. So quite a crazy story. So essentially we have new American oak, we have the three different types of ale casks, and then we also have that Bordeaux wine cask. So this is, I don't even know what to think about this. I haven't tried it yet, but it's just one of those interesting finishes, and I'm all about unique finishes. So as always, we're going to be trying it two different ways. First way, neat, no ice, no water. Second way, we'll add a drop of water, see if anything changes up. I mean, they really went with the road theme here. The cork itself is a hard rubber on the outside. It looks like a tire. Like, they went all out about here, and that's jumping out of the bottle. Holy crap. I love the shape of Whistlepig's bottling. They're so cool looking. They really do a cool job. And Whistlepig's not normally a cheap option, but they do some really good bottling. And just looking at this, very light, almost golden. It's almost got a beautiful gold sheen to it there. Oh, that looks so cool. Well, let's go for notes. Ooh, wow. That is different. You definitely can tell ale's been involved here. It's got a hoppiness, beer-like note to it. And that's pretty pungent right from the get-go. But once you get by that, it's got a sweetness underlayer in there, like sugary sweetness. Almost jam quality like, almost like a raspberry jam. And I'm going to say that's definitely from the Bordeaux wine casks, I'm guessing. Oh, you do get a bit of the rye spice in there too. And as I'm acclimating to this, and it's evolving, and that's a very interesting concept because we start off getting those pungent, hoppy beer notes, and then we go into sweetness, and then the Bordeaux wine, and getting more fruit, and that the hoppiness is definitely different now. And there's like a definitely that sweetness is now really opening up on here. That is a unique nose. I have never smelled anything like this. But yeah, it's got that, now that the hops are acclimated to the hoppiness, it's got sweetness, that jam, raspberry note going on in there. No ABV on the nose either. And just, it's very different. So let's go for taste. Ooh. Oh, that's really different. Beautiful mouthfeel to it. Very warming. This is my first whiskey of the day, and I'm happy I started off with this one, actually. A little sweet. Okay. Now that I've acclimated to it, let's go for actual notes. Got a beautiful spice to it. Very light rye spice. That jammy quality is still there. You get a little bit of that fruit note. Oh, I love that. I mean, it is like a raspberry jam. Got a beautiful, beautiful light wood in there. And I'm going to guess that's probably the virgin oak. It's just very subtle, almost sandalwood quality to it. It's not like an oak. Oak is such a prominent, heavy wood. It's not like that at all. Very light. It actually kind of reminds me of the cedar cask from Kamiki. Just a very light option in there. You almost get a bit of maltiness as well. And I'm going to guess that's from the different ales used, especially for things like the stout cask. Yeah, that's going to definitely bring in some maltiness to it. A little bit of spice in there. Finish isn't super long, but it's got if I'm going to walk you through the steps. You get some sweet, some spice, that underlying nice light wood note, that raspberry jammy qualities here in the finish here, with that little bit of maltiness going on, but that nice light wood is in there. That is unique. I've never tasted anything like that. And in the finish, you can definitely get that maltiness, like you just took a sip of a nice pint of beer. And it's got a nice warming to the palate. Like, my mouth feel is great. A little warm. Almost like I love that wood note that's in there. It's very light. Unlike an oak. Very light. I'm afraid what water's going to do to something like this. Mainly because it's probably going to make it mute. But we're going to try it anyways. That's what we do here. Oh, I love that mouthfeel. Good warmth to it. All right. Well, let's go for notes. Oh, yeah. It lost that little bit of that jammy quality I was getting. It's still got a bit of sweetness in there, that bit of that wood notes in there still. But you still get a bit of the spice, you still get a bit of sweetness. That light wood is still there. It's definitely toned back, but you really don't get a lot of that jammy raspberry jam quality I was getting previously. It's definitely not as present. Almost transparent. Same thing with the beer maltiness. You really don't get that either. Yeah. Let's go for taste. It definitely drinks flatter. Still get a bit of spice. You get a little maltiness on the taste, and the ABV does show up just a little bit, but not a lot. It's there, but it's not offensive. The finish is almost non-existent. The warmth I was getting in the mouthfeel is not there. It definitely is one of these. It doesn't matter what you drink or how you drink it, as long as you enjoy it. Neat gives so much more character to this one. And here you're getting about 50% of that, if that. Yeah. It almost goes a little sour. Like a warm beer. Not warm, like room temp beer. It's got, sometimes can have a little funky taste to it, and not like fresh off the draft. So, and I think that's the maltiness taking over a little bit. It's okay. I'm not a big fan of that with the bit of water in there. Neat has all the character. All right, let's talk about market price, because we all know market price is market price, and it's going to vary. Let's be frank here. I picked this up for $73. I've seen it go as low as $63 online. I've seen some places go as high as like $90. Locally, I find it for about $80. I honestly feel like they are definitely playing into the concept here. I'm always about unique casks. Those kind of things always interest me. And I have to say that I'm very curious on how. I mean, that's a couple day drive. You know, does a couple days really change whiskey that much? Well, it does somewhat, obviously, because we're getting those beery Bordeaux wine cask notes on this. And so I give it credit. I like that drive to change. And this is a limited release where what's on that rick house, that semi, was what was made. There's not been another run of it that we know of. And it was just done in 2021. Would I pay $73 for it again? Probably not. And it's a hard one. Now, if this was like 65, I wouldn't mind that, because I think that it's got a great story to it. I love the unique idea, and that mouthfeel alone is really good. The palate is different. It's not going to be for everybody. If you're not a person that likes hoppy things, and I normally am not. I'm not a big IPA fan, but I do like a good stout. And this kind of gives you the best of both worlds. You definitely can tell the influence by each of those casks. And it actually makes me wonder how long those things were sloshing around in those barrels for at the brewery. Like, is it freshly poured out and we just dump that in? Because I think you're going to get a lot of that character from that kind of a situation. But I don't know. The story is cool. The concept is there. And I like it for the most part. I just wish it was down a little cheaper. So yeah, there you have it. Whistlepig Roadstock Rye. If you have any question about the bottle itself, let me know down in the comment section below. I will do my best to answer it. And if you have any specific spirits I should go looking for, also let me know down below. I'm always on the hunt for something new and fun to share with everybody. And as always, may your last drink of the night be the best one.
You know, I even like it might